I'm a nip on good in a bit bomb bird and then down big got them bird not on bed I'm doing and get down bird bomb bed bed bomb little bit I got them be done doing that I'm bird that I'm big that I'm moving about it.
That's it. Exactly. We need to re-record it.
Oh man, terrible joke.
Well, welcome
What's
back.
up, man? Happy
It's been
Friday.
a good break because it's been since Christmas.
Something like that. 3 weeks.
weeks.
2 or 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Sorry to our listener.
Yeah. Probably gave her some time to catch up on the latest eps.
I was actually with our listener, so it's okay. It was a special. We did a raffle for all of our listeners, and she won, and she got to meet up in person. So for a whole 8 days.
That's hilarious. We should actually do that officially next year.
Yes. A holiday raffle. What if we get one random listener? It's like Joe Schmo from Kentucky.
We have to go there. Invites us to his ranch, never lets us leave.
His hillside ranch.
So you went back to Eville?
No, we actually did. It was an interesting Christmas. We did a joint Christmas. So we did up in near Modesto, California, which is like Central California. That's where Nicole's family's from. And so we were doing Thanksgiving with my family. So we did Thanksgiving with my dad and his wife. And then Christmas, we went up to her family. So we're like switching back and forth holidays. Last year was Thanksgiving, her family, my family, Christmas. But my mom was kind of getting the short end of the stick, and so was my sister. So like, okay, well, we're going to come out to Modesto. Everybody was on board. We did it. So it was Nicole's family and my mom and sister, and they were, mom and ET were there for, I want to say 4 of the 8 days. But yeah, dude, we had some pretty extensive flight troubles on Christmas Eve.
Oh no, what happened?
Mom flew from Evansville to Dallas. Got there like real early, and then got there at like 9 a.m. And then there was some thunderstorms. Her flight got delayed, canceled around 4. And so she booked another flight that was going to leave at like 7:30 or 8. And the rain was supposed to be done at 6. And then she got delayed, canceled. And so it's
boy.
So then it's like 10:30 or 11 in Dallas, and she's been at that airport for 12 hours. So I frantically just like, Mom, just get a hotel, spend the night. And she's like 73, 74. So like moving around and, being in foreign places and walking from gate to gate is not easy for her. And if it's like far, she needs to get a ride. It's not like she can do it and tough it out. It's like she needs a ride. They switch gates 4 or 5 times. And so she's exhausted, done more physical exertion than she's done in the past 2 years in a couple hours. So she's just dead. And so they finally got her rebooked first flight next morning. And she gets the airport, and they say, your luggage is already on board, because she didn't even grab her luggage. She's just like, I'm exhausted. I need to go take a nap. We'll figure out later. And so she gets on the plane, finally arrives in Sacramento instead of Fresno. So they changed which airport she's going to. And then she lands in Sacramento, and her bag never comes up. They lost her bag. Couldn't find it. And so she had to live without a bag for like a day and a half. And luckily they mailed it straight to her. Luckily for her, she bought the traveler's insurance. So I fronted the money for the hotel and her meal and stuff, and they're going to reimburse, since everything was legit. It's not like she went out to the Five Seasons and the nicest steakhouse. Like, she just ate at the hotel. So they should be reimbursing me for everything, for her, and then she'll reimburse me. But yeah, it was a whole thing. Poor Mom. You're muted, dude.
I said that's brutal.
Yeah.
Sorry, of course we've got a yeah, that is a tough day. I'm muted because the dogs are barking. Sometimes we have Airbnb people try to come into our house.
Accident?
Yeah. So they just had a nice warm welcome at my front door.
Well, yeah, that was the beginning of Christmas, and so they stayed for 4 days. And we drove over to San Francisco, saw a couple of things, went to a casino, and had a joint family Christmas. Quite eventful.
Sweet.
What about you? What'd you do?
Open presents with kiddo here, and not too much after that. Yeah, it hasn't snowed here in Boise yet.
Really?
First time ever that it didn't snow before the new year.
And they got some crazy snow out in the Midwest. I know it was like in in Evansville, it was like an ice storm. And so
Yeah.
a bunch of power outages all over the place.
Yep. Yeah, Carmel got a whole foot, 9 to 12 inches or so. So yeah, missed us. But speaking of ice storms, you guys are having a little bit of a firestorm down there right now, huh?
It's a little hot over here. So there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of stuff going on. I think I actually see smoke outside my window right now, which I haven't really been able to see. Yep, it's smoke. It's pretty extensive. Like, this is definitely the largest fire I've heard of since I lived here. There's always been little ones. It's usually in much, like, very rural areas where there's hardly any houses, and you'll hear like, oh, like 5 houses got burned down, and it's like really sad for those 5 people. This was like an entire densely populated neighborhood in like an affluent neighborhood. And I like looked up all the houses, and they're like, nothing's under $1 million. Most of them aren't under $2 million. So it's like some of the richest people in the country live there, and it's like movie stars and the people who drive into Hollywood or in Century City for the big businesses and stuff. So it's pretty crazy that the amount of houses that were burned down, because usually the fire has trouble jumping from house to house, but it didn't have that issue because the winds were so strong. And usually, like, the winds are strong, so the fire is easier to catch other stuff, and the fire creates more wind at the same time. So it's just like this cycle. And it got down to Hollywood, like the dense population. Sunset Boulevard, I don't know if you saw any of those pictures, but there's parts of Sunset Boulevard that are just gone, which is pretty far in to LA in terms of where the mountains are. I guess on this part of Sunset Boulevard, it was just, maybe 3 or 4 blocks from like where the hills and a lot of trees are. But it's still just crazy to think of something that's like so densely populated. It's like if you saw downtown New York City caught fire. Like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, there's lots of weird things going on. There's also lots of looting happening.
Weird.
Looting the houses before they are assumed to be burned down. And there's also some people saying that they're looting the houses and then setting them on fire so that all the evidence is destroyed. And there have been a few people caught that are starting more fires, like actively, like burning more and more places, like, and they're going to residential neighborhoods and like setting fires on people's front porches. So there's something else going on aside from just, hey, it's climate change or global warming or there's not enough water. Like, there's people out there that are trying to perpetuate this. I don't know if it's just random individuals acting on their own saying, hey, screw these rich people, or if there's some other purpose. But yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a whole bunch of fires and it's about to burn a house down, I could see how some people looking to get a new TV.
I mean, there's a lot more stuff in those houses aside from TVs. Like I said, some of the richest people in the country live in the Pacific Palisades. And so if you steal one jewelry box, you might have come up on a couple $100,000 if they grab the right stuff. So it's pretty significant.
Yeah.
But I think the other big story with that is the insurance companies, because California's been going through some major insurance issues the past couple of years, and it started because there's California laws that prevent insurance companies from raising their rates above a certain amount. So they're like caps, like you can't raise your rates above 3 or 5%, whatever it is. And so these fires are not new. Damage to California homes is not new. So a lot of these insurance companies are like, well, we can't afford to rebuild the homes that we're insuring right now. We're going to leave California because we can't raise our premiums high enough to afford to pay for this percentage of homes that are being destroyed. And so there's been a huge issue that the way they say it on the news, like these people got canceled and they can't non-renewed, and it's like the insurance company just pulled out with nothing. But the way insurance really works is like you sign a 6-month contract, 6-month or a year contract, you're insured for that year or whatever that length of term is. And then after that, they can choose to renew you or choose not to. That's exactly how it works. So it's not like you've paid into this, not like a pension where you paid into it for a decade. You should be able to get something out after it. You paid for a 6-month contract 20 times, and they can choose to not renew it or go somewhere else. So it's not like these insurance companies are collecting all these money and then just taking their money and running. It's like they're going broke in California. They can't afford to be here anymore. And that's why you're hearing on the news, people, I paid in my insurance for this long. And now if they didn't get new insurance after they got non-renewed, that's kind of on them at the same time. It's like, it's extremely expensive to get new insurance because there was caps on how much they could insure. So if they've been insured with the same company for 15 years and had those small little caps on their premiums, and then they got non-renewed and had to go find new insurance, and it doubles their insurance premiums. That's kind of the issue a lot of people are seeing. I've seen a lot in the mountain towns around, just like near Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead. It's so hard to get insurance if you live near brush. most of the insurance carriers just won't do it. Your house is not eligible for insurance. Like the big one, AAA. If it's anywhere near brush, if you're close to a hill, they just won't do it. They'll get their money from car insurance, from doing stuff that's in the city. They just won't do houses near brush. People are kind of coming after the insurance companies, but it's not the insurance company's fault. It's the people who put these laws in the place to say they can only raise their premiums by this amount, and if you don't like that, go somewhere else. And they left.
Yeah, so they leave.
Right.
They also, like, if they completely leave in like 5-10 years, they can come back and set their price at whatever they want, right?
I mean, I don't know. That sounds feasible, but I'm not sure if that's how it works. Because I actually remember hearing it was like farmers had canceled all condo insurance, and like just last week, I got a text from my farmer's agent, and they said, "Oh, condo insurance is coming back," and I'm like, "I don't think it's coming back anymore." So maybe they had done through their waiting period where they can come back and reset their premiums to a point where they'd be profitable. Yeah, I don't think the insurance companies are to blame for this. I don't think there's any foul play by the insurance companies because I don't
I mean,
see
it's a market, right? I mean,
I don't see how they would benefit from this.
yeah, they wouldn't. It's purely like whoever can charge the lowest premiums is going to get the most policies. And so, I mean, there's really no way to price fix this stuff. I mean, unless you're actually colluding at a high level with all thousands of the insurance companies, but the likelihood of that's pretty low.
There's not thousands of insurance companies in California. I want to say that there's less than 20.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's insurance brokers who use these other companies, but there might even be less than 10 at this point. And I think after this whole fire thing, when people try and rebuild their houses, I bet at least 2 insurance carriers go bankrupt because of these fires. Yeah.
Absolutely wild. Yeah. I'm glad I got out of California when I did.
Well, I think what's also funny is when Trump was on Joe Rogan, did you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
So when Trump was on Joe Rogan, he was talking about how there is water in California. It's just in the northern half of it. And so in California, Governor Newsom signed a bill and said, we need to be eco-friendly. We need to protect a smeltfish because if they don't have enough water, they're going to go extinct. And so instead of sending a bunch of water down to Southern California, where we need it to survive and fight fires and stuff, they directed a lot of it towards the Pacific Ocean to help keep this fish from going extinct. And, everybody who loves fish and animals thought this was a great idea. And now, when these fires, these disasters happen, and we're hearing from firefighters that the fire hydrant just doesn't have any water left in it. It's gone. Then what? So it's like Trump was like saying this 4 months ago. They need to reroute water down to Southern California and the drought's over. There's no need for water anymore. And it's like, all right, well, they knew about this and they didn't think it was a big issue. It turned out to be a big issue. Now, lots of people lost their homes. I think there's multiple people dead and injured because of this. And it's just, I don't know. Hopefully it'll cause some good change, but change is needed.
So there's people that have died already in LA there in the, what's that area called? Hollywood?
A few days ago, I heard that it was said that 5 were dead.
Wow.
And that was
these are holdouts. People that just wouldn't leave their homes.
Who was I? It was Dick Van Dyke did an interview, and he was trying to get out of his house in Pacific Palisades, and he just didn't think they were that close. And he's like 90, 95 or something. And so all of a sudden it's like, shit, I got to evacuate right now. And he gets out of his house and is basically like, can't get there fast enough. And he's just old and decrepit and he's crawling on the sidewalk trying to get to his car. And luckily his neighbors see him and go and pick him up and put him in their car and drive out. But if they didn't see him, there goes Dick Van Dyke. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel like it's that stuff where it's people who are like just, too old to move or didn't think it was an issue and they waited too long. They get trapped there because that happens. With how big these flames are, stories high. And if all of a sudden your house is encapsulated or there's only one road out and they're both closed or closed both ways, you can't do anything.
Yikes.
My hot take is like, I feel really bad for people who are injured and dead because of this, but the rich people who lost their homes, I'm sorry. Don't ask for my money.
Yeah.
You've had your chance at being rich. It's gone now. Maybe the insurance companies will pay you back. I'm sure you've got investments you can cash in and start over somewhere else. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless you own your house outright, it's illegal to not have home insurance, right?
I wouldn't say illegal. It's against the mortgage guidelines.
Okay, so you don't have to have insurance if you don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a legal thing, but I know that every mortgage will require you to have
Mhm.
home insurance on it. I had this issue on a file once where we were doing a loan and he didn't have insurance on another property that he owned, but he didn't have a mortgage on it. The underwriter was like, "Well, you can't do that." And I was like, "Well, I'm pretty." I think it was definitely a different state. I want to say it was like Texas or Oklahoma, but that was the issue. The underwriter was trying to require them to get homeowners insurance on a property that we weren't even getting a mortgage on. So like they're pretty strict on they want you to have homeowners insurance. There was something else I haven't read into it about like the insurance policies not having a fire clause. Like if you had a water leak or fell over because of an earthquake or wind or storm or something like that, but specifically fire they weren't covered for because it was too high risk.
So that
Yeah.
guy had to get an insurance policy for like 2 months and then cancel it.
What?
That guy had to get an insurance policy for that house in Texas and then
No.
cancel it later.
I had to fight with the underwriter about where's the guideline that says he has to have insurance on all properties. Like I get that he has to have one on the one that we're putting a mortgage on, but he doesn't need it on every property. And ended up not doing it. But I'm just saying that's how strict they are. They want you to have insurance on all properties, even
Yeah. So you won out on that one. He didn't have to
Yes.
get it.
per use. Show the underwriter what's up.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Rob, your lender, is going to bat for you against his own underwriters.
I would say I do that probably once every other file. I have an argument with the underwriter and that they end up just waiving a condition.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of conditions,
What, you quit your tobacco? Is that what you're going for?
yeah, dude, I had some serious withdrawal the last couple of days. Today I feel like 98%.
So tell me,
But yeah,
the
Wednesday and
thought
Thursday were
process.
tough.
You were a dipper, right? You weren't smoking cigarettes. You were doing Zins.
Yeah, I never
And
dipped. Never dipped.
What
Just
was a switch that said, "Hey, I need to quit"?
yeah, I just got tired of paying for it. I mean, there's different milligrams, but they all cost the same. And I had moved down from like, vaping levels of milligrams and which is crazy high. I started with like the 12, 10, 8s, whatever on the Zins, made my way all the way down to like 2 milligrams 5 times a day, maybe closer to 10 of them a day. And it's just like,
How long do those things last? I've never done one. Don't they last like 20, 30 minutes?
yeah, but you can,
Well, that's the whole day.
yeah, pretty much, dude. It'd be like I'd pop when I wake up and then, before lunch. And then after that, I kind of would do like, I'd have one pop in a new one every hour. And then I'd keep it in the whole hour. But yeah, they go dead after like 20 minutes. But you still have something to like suck on, But yeah, I just was like, dude, why am I doing this anymore? It's just $5 a day of nicotine. I
Wait,
tell
so
you
were
what,
doing, like a whole package a day?
pretty much. Yeah, or like every day and a half. It was like a package, and they come in like 5 packs. But yeah, dude, it's just like a $30 a week habit that's like totally unnecessary, right? When you're at that low of a milligrams, because I wasn't getting a nicotine buzz or anything anymore. It was just satisfying the demand or like the craving. So yeah, just freaking woke up and didn't put one in and I went to the gym like every day this week. Dude, I'm sleeping like a baby without the nicotine. I don't know what it is, but I'm like so tired at 8 p.m. and been getting up, 5:30, 6 o'clock. So yeah, it's going good so far, but my body's so tired. I don't know if it's the working out or.
I mean, it's a stimulant. You no longer have the stimulant. It's
Yeah, that's true.
stimulant, so it gives you mental energy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you're just now realizing your mental energy is matching your physical energy.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I was talking to some other buddies. It was like, I mean, there are some benefits to nicotine.
For sure.
So it's like there's some weight loss because it's an appetite depressant.
Mhm.
Increases your heart rate, which helps you burn calories. And it's like it's a neurostimulant. So it's like you can get more zoned in on things and you're more focused and locked in. But it also can cause cancer.
Yep. Yeah, they're still trying to figure out the link between nicotine and cancer because most of the studies show that it's like the actual other chemicals in cigarettes
Right. Yeah.
And
But if you
vaping,
just
there's
do just
not
straight
enough data.
tobacco, yeah, then you still have some of the carcinogens in there, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, with just straight up natural tobacco, it's still smoke in your lungs. So, because you're burning it and inhaling it, right? So it is some kind of smoke.
Yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right.
I
Well, you're how long off now? 1 week?
quit on Wednesday morning.
Today is Friday, so you're 2 days off?
Yeah, today's my third full awake day of no nicotine, and today was much easier than Wednesday. Thursday was a little bit easier than Wednesday. It's gotten steadily easier over time. When I woke up this morning, I didn't crave it right away, which I usually do. So I bet tomorrow will be even
What's the
better.
craving? Is it like a mental thing or is it a habitual thing or what is the craving?
I have no idea, honestly. It's
So
just
when you say you crave one, what does that mean? Your stomach growls, you got a headache? Like, what is it?
your blood.
Did you just put
Your
one in? What
blood.
just happened? You froze for a
I know I'm chewing a Tic Tac.
Oh, you froze for a second, and then I see you doing this. I was like, what the hell?
I had to replace something from my mouth.
Yeah.
So doing Tic Tacs and gum and stuff.
So you
Which
said
I
your blood feels different?
Yeah, your energy, like right when you first wake up, it's the longest you've been without a pouch, right? Unless you like slept with it, but that's crazy. So yeah, you feel like, you know, that feeling of, oh, I need a coffee.
No, I don't drink coffee. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong
So
guy.
I mean, yeah, you just feel like, oh man, I need this, or I'm gonna start shaking a little bit, or maybe just be a little grouchy pretty soon if I don't get it in. Or it helps you wake up and get sharp quick. So I was liking popping one in to have coffee. Given that I hadn't had one all night, it'd be a nice little wake up, and then I'd eat some breakfast, and I wouldn't throw one in again until like later, like 9:30 or 10 or so before lunch, you know. But then after that, it was kind of like every hour.
What did the kids think of you having a Zen in?
Dude, I'm super good at hiding it. Nobody knew.
I
None
mean,
of
do
our
you
staff.
do you
No,
swallow the Zen? Like, what's
no, no. You spit it
how
out.
would you? You're there like all day some days.
Just in a napkin, or when you go to the bathroom, you just throw it in the trash, and that's a good time to throw a new one in too. But normally I wasn't doing it over at the daycare either. So I mean, I might have one in when I get there, but it wasn't something that I like brought inside all the time. Barely ever.
Well,
If
congrats.
I ever did, it was like accidental, not like intentional.
I'm proud of you for your third day. You're doing great.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
You can
totally
make
free on it.
Yeah. Good luck on the rest of them. You don't need it. You're a strong man.
Yep. No, I agree, dude. It's kind of like, dude, at some point I was like, this is a childish thing. Like, I don't need this anymore. I knew that if we had plenty of them left when I tried to quit, I knew that would be tough. So I waited until we had like 2 boxes left, and I was like, okay, cool. Done.
All right. So speaking of your daycare, how are things going there? Because I know you have some new responsibilities.
New responsibilities?
Yeah.
What's that?
Other ways to earn income.
Yeah. It's going pretty good, man. The director is about to go on maternity leave. So we've been kind of prepping for that. Yeah, just because we've kind of staffed up a lot in preparation for all the marketing and like new enrollment. It's pulling a lot off the business. So in order to make sure cash flow stays good, I'm looking at trying to do something on the side for a little while, if not honestly kind of semi-permanently.
So you're overstaffed right now, so you have too much expenses, so you're trying to offset that personally rather than somewhere in the business.
Right. Yeah. Because, we were taking, I don't know, anywhere between 1,500 and 2,500 a month from the daycare to take care of our expenses and bills and credit cards and stuff. Just kind of whatever was needed each month. And rather than relying on that for the next 3-4 months, we just wanted to generate some additional income. And yeah, man. So we've got a ton of marketing money out there right now, and we're tons of tours, and we're having kids sign up, which is great. So I might actually not end up really needing to have done this, but But yeah, the job I'm taking is a part-time RV sales job, which I freaking love RVs, and I think I'd really enjoy sales. So being like, I enjoy being at dealerships and stuff, being on the buying
Is this your
side.
first sales job?
Well, if you don't count like wholesaling, yeah, it would be my
I was
first
just
like,
about a call center, but I guess that's a different type of sale.
yeah, that's more like buying and reselling, right? And I did do a lot of door knocking when I was painting in high school, or I guess that'd be college. We were door knocking for leads, but that wasn't a full time thing. That was just like Fridays after we were done with a job, you know. Um, but but
I
yeah,
always
this
thought that
would
you'd be
be,
really good at sales, so I'm almost worried that you're going to like your job too much and stop your
yeah,
entrepreneurial stuff. I mean, there's also some sales that goes into, you know, Strive is trying to get new
for
kids.
sure.
So, but this is going to be like hardcore sales.
Yeah, yeah. At Strive, I've definitely like worked a lot of the experience I had from real estate sales. I've worked a lot of those kind of skills in, and I think it's helped a lot with even other members on the team kind of being able to pull some of that stuff and use some of that stuff in our tour process. I mean, it's very dialed in on like how we do it and like the steps and the sequence of stuff. And pretty rare we have someone tour and they don't sign up at this point. So if we can get them in the door, they're usually signing up.
Yeah. Well, that's
We
cool.
have had a couple people say, hey, yeah, we looked at a bunch of daycares, yours was our favorite. And they were like, we were just, even though it was the best one, it's like, we were just, expecting, they had different expectations and they decided to stay home with their kid. You know what I mean?
Did they say like what was it, a price thing or?
Yeah, price, but also like I think some people expect like, oh, you're gonna have three kids per teacher, like
Caretakers?
no matter what age. Like they expect it to be like a tutoring, like Montessori, because they don't know anything else. They think it's well, public school's free. Why isn't preschool like $200 a month? So they just have different expectations
And what is the actual? Because you have how many? I mean, does it depend per age group?
on the ratio. Yeah, yeah. Babies is a lower ratio. Older kids, there's more kids per teacher.
Is it like say you got a 4-year-old in there? What's the ratio for 4-year-olds? It's like 6, 12.
Technically, it's 24, but nobody does that. For a 4-year-old, yeah, you're at 12 kids. 3 4-year-olds, you're at 10 or 12. 2-year-olds, you're at 9, and under 2, you're at 6.
I saw this video on TikTok of these people running a daycare out of their house, and they didn't have their licenses set up properly, and so they had like a bunker underneath their house that was hidden. And so the cops came and because somebody complained like, "Hey, you guys don't have your licenses right. Can we see your license?" And like if they didn't have it, they get a ticket. And like maybe they have to shut down the company or something like that. But what they did is they took the kids into the bunker. So they got like 20 kids down there. Like, shh, be quiet. And there's like some babies and stuff while the police are searching the house. And then they find out that these kids are been locked in the bunker, and these cops are there for like an hour, 2 hours, trying to search for everything because they know that there's kids there. They can like
Yeah.
hear them through the vents and stuff like that. And so when they find the kids, it turns out it's now a kidnapping charge because you've been hiding kids from other people, and everybody was there that got arrested. So it was going to be like a $500 ticket. Like, you don't have your licenses right. Maybe we'll shut down your company. Now you're going to jail. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to mess around with that.
It was so dumb.
That person sounds the R word.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you do not want to mess with that. Dude, the in-home daycares are, man, it's so much harder to be a parent and go to an in-home daycare and know that they're being legit because the ones that are legit don't look that much different than the ones that aren't. I mean,
Yeah. No,
they
I've
might
heard
have
some
a
pretty
license.
terrible
but-
stories from in-home daycares.
Yeah. There's even in Idaho, there's even a certain stipulation where you don't have to be licensed. So a lot of people can hide behind that too.
It's like if you don't have so many kids or something.
Yeah, it's like if you have I want to say it's 6 kids. If you have less than 7 kids, then you don't have to have a license at all.
And then you're just hanging out with your neighbors.
Yeah. So yeah, the and it depends too on some of these in-homes are cheap because the people are literally just trying to get a little bit of money, but it's not a profit thing. It's not like they can, pay the mortgage with it. It's like grocery money that these people are earning if they have 3 to 4 kids in a in-home daycare. To be profitable in a daycare, you have to have, at least 60 kids, at least 50. And to be profitable in an in-home daycare where it's under 12 kids, I mean, you would have to charge more than a nice center. So it's kind of like it doesn't really make sense to do an
Why
in-home unless
is that
you're
the case? Just because of how much it costs to feed 7 kids or something?
yeah. Like if you think about it, let's say you're a person who's doing an in-home and you have 10 kids. That means you have to hire somebody full time, right? So that's about $500 a week. Each of your kids are paying 150 a week. So, you're making 1,500 bucks a week. Your one employee is making 500. Let's say you're paying yourself 500. That leaves you $500 left for activities, the extra utilities, saving for equipment purchases that need to be made annually or semi-annually, food. Yeah, let's say you took out a loan to build the playground and all the stuff that's required, like 120 bucks a month that you pay to the playground company who lent you the money for that, so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's a tight budget at 10 kids, right? You're not, you can't even really count that $500 you're paying yourself because you could go make that at a job, right?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
more. So there's no profit there per se. You're kind of just maybe paying some of your home's utilities and getting to write off some on taxes.
Okay, so let's circle back for a second. So you took a second job because you're no longer to be focused on being at the daycare because you're overstaffed, but you bought a new car.
Yes, I did.
So explain to me how that all works in the system.
Yeah, dude. So I figured that we could just figure it out to use one car, but none of the jobs I was kind of looking at would have been okay with our schedule for Rafi. So, you got to get him to school at 8:30 and pick him up at 3. So the only way we could make that kind of figured out a way to make that work is if I had my own car.
So you guys only had one car this whole time.
Yeah, well, I did have that old beater truck, but that was not going to be reliable to get to work every day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that thing would die often, especially when driving far. Like getting on the highway, no go. And yeah, that car was for going to Home Depot and back, and it's about it. So yeah, I sold that for almost what I paid for it a year ago. So
Pretty
not
cool.
bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I was just looking at like used cars for like $12,000, $15,000 and getting denied by banks, like 22 interest loans, like 22% interest loans on this stuff because my credit isn't the
It's
best.
not terrible, but it's like you've maxed out a lot of cards and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for some reason though, I was getting approved for brand new cars that were 50 grand and used cars in the $30,000 range. And the interest rates across the board were like basically making it near the same payment until the car got to be like $40,000. Then it was like, some of the cars I was looking at were like 50 grand brand new. Payment was going to be like $950. And then a, $15,000 2015 with 110,000 on it, miles on it. Those payments were going to be like 600. So it's like, dude, I mean, why not buy something like a lot newer? So I ended up
long
selling.
time, hopefully.
Exactly. So I bought a 2021 used car. So like at least the cost of ownership is going to be super low because I won't lose much equity. And the interest rate was kind of the Jeep Gladiator.
Jeep Gladiator.
Yeah, the Mojave trim.
Show off some pics or no?
I might have some.
You just Google some.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I mean, I remember you showed me a picture. It looks like an off-road vehicle, like one you would go take mud.
Yeah, it's basically a Jeep Wrangler with a truck bed, right?
Okay.
So yeah, the Gladiator is the same thing as the Wrangler. It's just a little bit longer.
Well, I know Wranglers are those like in terms of holding their value, the Wrangler is always one of the top three cars that hold their value really well. So is the Gladiator kind of in the same ballpark?
Yeah, and they are a little bit. So the Gladiators didn't even really come out until 2020. So
So it's not
the
horrible.
data isn't. It's this one right here. I got this exact one.
That's okay.
Yeah, this one's lifted. I didn't get a lifted one. I just got one stock. But yeah, it looks like this.
Driving around in that in your NASCAR t-shirt.
Yeah. But yeah, man, so they are a little bit less data than the Wranglers, but they've so far been performing just as good, if not a tiny bit better. And I found this one out in Salt Lake. The dealer had been holding it for 3 or 4 months, so they had dude, dealers are slashing prices across the nation right now. And they got aggressive on this one. Like I could go trade it in right now for $2,000 more than I paid for it, or at least on sticker price. After taxes, I would be breaking even if I traded it in right now to CarMax. But so that's a good.
The CarMax. Every time I've sold a car, CarMax was the lowest offer I got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every single time. I had one that was, I think it was Carvana.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those ones where they have some 20-something-year-old Uber to your place, take pictures of your car, and then take it back to the facility type thing. And that's the only time I've done it to one of the big companies. Every time else I've done it, I sold it to an individual.
Interesting. Yeah, CarMax is usually pretty accurate tell on what it really is worth, because CarMax is now the biggest auction in the country, bigger than Mecum, bigger than
You what?
bigger than what's the other one called? Odessa.
I always go on Auto Trader. Is Auto Trader not cool anymore?
No, it is. That's a great way to find the best price on a certain particular vehicle in the country. That's where I found this one. Yeah, I mean the next Jeep Gladiator 2021 that had that many miles was like 36 to 37,000. And then in Boise, they were all like 38, 39, and 40. So I only paid 32.9. And then CarMax, I typed it in there.
How far of a drive is Salt Lake?
It was 5 hours.
That's much closer I thought it was. I need to look at a map because that doesn't seem right.
From Boise, it's 5 hours. And it was pretty close to the downtown.
Yeah, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think? I was thinking Salt Lake was way closer to Zion.
Oh no, it's far.
It's north. Yeah. Okay. I thought you drove like 10 hours to go get a car.
So check this out. I drove there in Elena's car and then towed it back with a U-Haul. It was still cheaper with gas and everything, still cheaper than buying it here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That car looks pretty badass, man. What have you done anything really cool with it aside from tow your other car?
We went off-roading the day after I bought it, which is something I've done before with cars and not gone
that
well.
With me. I remember I was shocked. We were like in some Subaru Outback or something. You're like, let's go off-roading. I was like, what do you mean? You got this car yesterday.
And I broke the catalytic converter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't break anything this time, but definitely it was super sketchy. The snow was really powdery, and there's some turkeys that I almost hit. But yeah, it was pretty good.
Is it pretty high up, or since you get the standard wheels, it's not too bad?
It has 33-inch tires on it, which is not huge, but also not small. Like a 4Runner will have, 29 or 31-inch tires on it when you buy it. And this one had 33s on it. So a little bit bigger, but nothing crazy.
That's cool.
But
well, that's fun.
You kind of got to step up a little bit to get into it. Rafi struggles to climb in, but he's 6.
But he's 6.
Elena has to jump a little, but she can do it.
Yeah.
It's a good size.
I feel like that's a good car to have up in your area, especially with all the snow and stuff. And I feel like you guys do a lot of work sometimes, so having that truck bed is probably a big deal.
Yeah, that was one of the things I found, having that little truck was, oh wow, this little truck can get around town, easily park at Home Depot or anywhere, at Walmart. You can park any grocery store, easy to park, yet that bed is just as big. It's the same size as like an F-350. It's the same size bed.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put a 2-ton rock in the back of there like you could on
No.
the F-50, but it's the
Yeah.
same size. Carries
Yeah.
couches and wood just fine. Yeah.
Exactly. So I found that having that little truck was super nice, especially with the work that we do. And I'm always picking something up that's like easier to just throw in the bed. So I was looking at Wranglers for the longest time, like early last year when I bought that little truck. But yeah, then I started realizing, no, I need to look at trucks, and I want to take the roof off. That's why I wanted the Wrangler. So
Did your
I
roof
ended up
come off?
settling with it. The Gladiator roof comes off, yeah, like a Wrangler.
Did you have to buy? I know, like I've seen people who have those like attachments in their garage and like goes down and grabs roof and picks it up, or you just do it manually.
Yeah. I'm going to do it manually because the roof on the Gladiator is actually smaller than the Wrangler, because the Wrangler has not only the back seat, but also a small trunk. So that means the roof is actually longer and bigger and bulkier.
Yeah.
It's like 110 pounds. So you have to have two guys pick it up because it's bulky and awkward.
Yeah,
But the Gladiator one,
110.
well, dude, squatting 110 is different than like lifting this bulky, weird, wonky shaped thing that wants to fall
Overhead
this
press
way.
like this, like
Yeah. It wants to fall one way, and so you got to have two dudes, 4 points of contact.
I love sex tape.
Two dudes, 4 points of contact. I love your sex tape. Dude, that was sharp. That was
It just came to me.
I
love my
thought
sex
of your sex tape. But yeah, dude, the Gladiator the roof is much smaller, so one dude can do it on his own.
There we go. Good. That's cool. So, I mean, what kind of loans you get? I know they're much shorter terms. So you probably got a 5 or a 10-year loan.
On the car?
Yeah.
No, 6. Yes.
6.
Well, 6 years, 72 months. Yeah.
I didn't know they were doing those
Dude, it's crazy.
from the bank or credit union or from the dealership.
At the dealer, but the best rate I could get was through coincidentally, my bank that I bank with, Ally. But yeah, they check credit unions and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's crazy these days. I remember in 2012 when I first graduated, it was like 60 months was the most you could do. But now they do 72, they do 84, they do 96 on some new cars, especially ones that have 10-year warranties like Kias and stuff. You can get a 96-month. It's wild. Actually, in 2021, I refinanced a car that I had. Dude, I owed like $8,000 on this Kia Niro, and and it was only like 3 years old. I refinanced it for 96 months at 1.9% interest.
Wow.
The payment was like $92. I
Wow,
wish I kept that car. I wish I kept that car because 92, and the insurance was like $30 a month, and it was basically a brand new car and had AC seats, like cooled, ventilated seats. I love that car. I traded it in because I had $11,000 of equity in it.
Wow. Yeah, probably a pretty good step up.
Yeah, I traded that in for the truck, actually, for an F3.
But because the 350 was to tow your enormous, what was it, like a 16-foot RV or something?
Yeah, 46 foot.
46. I was close.
Yeah, good times. I made a list of all the cars that I've owned.
Was it pretty expensive? I guess you have kind of hopped around.
Yeah, dude.
Well, you had your Jeep for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and I only counted ones that were like I didn't count. My dad had let me use a Taurus for 1 year when I was at college, and he let me use a Ford Fusion another year I was at college. I didn't count those because those weren't mine. They were my dad's. But yeah, let's see. I'm bringing up this spreadsheet I made.
And now I got to do mine too. What's more fun on mine is all the places that I've lived. That list is crazy. I want to say it's at least 20 places that I've lived.
That's crazy, dude. In 10 years?
Well, no, I'm saying like in general. But since I've been in California, so it's been 13 years, I've lived in it. I think it's 10 places in California, and then all the places I lived before then. Where'd your spreadsheet go? What happened?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you saw it.
I saw it for half a second.
Oh, it's not that interesting, but I'll pull it up again. So it also tracks the sale price and the equity gain and loss. So, I mean, that's an average of 1,000 loss in equity on every car. That's a pretty good, I'd say, for how often trading. Usually you lose 20% when you leave the lot, right?
Yeah. What is this? You've almost got a car every single year. 12, 13,
Pretty
16.
much.
So you skipped 2 years, but you had 2 and 13. So you skipped 1 year. 2 and 17, 1 and 18. Skip year 2020. Next year, next year, next year.
Yeah.
24. You've had a car a year.
This is all transactions since moving to Boise 5 years ago.
Wow.
Five transactions in 5
Where's
years.
didn't you have like a Corvette? There it is. 8th anniversary edition. You bought it for 27, made $3,000 on it, or 300. Sorry, that's a cheap car.
Yeah, I did put like $400 or $500 of work into it, but it wasn't bad.
How do you that shitty van that I brought down to San Diego once? I put $400 of work into that, and that was just to make it so it didn't leak.
Yeah.
And I mean rain coming into the driver's seat. I don't mean like fluids leaking out of the engine. It was not water resistant.
Wow. Yeah, that can be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one hurt the most.
2012. So I was right when you graduated college.
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted at all. I knew nothing about cars, and then I went off roading shortly after this, and I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta get an FJ." And didn't waste much time.
Yeah, had it for 6 months.
No, I had this for years. I sold it in.
Oh, but you just got what's the Oldsmobile?
That was a car that I bought to rent it out. So I rented this one to a roommate for $700 a month, like an intern, and he basically paid me $2,800 to rent it, and then I sold it shortly after that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a fun summer car. The Jeep Patriot I had bought that after selling my FJ because I was like, okay, cool. I need like a 4-wheel drive car to go camping and something just reliable, blah, blah, blah. And dude, as soon as I left the lot, it started having issues, and I told CarMax, but then they have like a 7-day guarantee, and they're like, okay, cool, bring it into the shop on Tuesday. And that was like day 8. They had it in the shop for like 3 weeks, and they told me, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. The transmission is supposed to act like that. And I'm like, then I don't want it. And they're like, oh, you're past your 7 days.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, well, I would have returned it immediately then, but you guys told me to bring it into the shop. I would have just returned it. If you guys had told me that that was the way it was supposed to perform on day 2, I would have returned it. And they fought me on that. And so I sold it back to them and lost $3,000, and I'll never shop there again. But I will sell them cars, but I will not shop there again. Fuck them. That's what happens, when you just sell all cars.
I like your key on
C17.
Lemon.
Yeah, that Patriot was a fucking lemon, dude. But that's what happens when your sales guy does. It's not like a Mazda dealership and you're selling Mazdas. Like, it's impossible for those guys to know everything about every car. So the salesman just didn't know that the Jeeps were like that. Those Patriots are awful cars. Awful.
All right.
Only thing good that Jeep makes is Grand Cherokees now, and then Wranglers and Gladiators. Everything else sucks.
Cool.
Let's review your home's spreadsheet next week.
And so I had to do it for my mortgage license. When you get your mortgage license, they ask you to list every address you lived at for the past 10 years. It took me a whole day to remember all those addresses, but I'll see if I can make one next week. Dude, have you seen my new tat?
Yeah, you sent me a picture. I like it. It's bold.
Touched up this week.
Oh, why touched up?
So I don't know if it's just me or just because I'm white, but for every tattoo I've had, it like faded after 2 weeks. I had to go get it retouched up. So
Oh,
like
really?
all the infill and stuff, it was like half filled, half not filled, and so my skin was just rejecting the ink and spitting it back out. And so I just went and got it touched up, and yeah, basically got 2 tattoos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's wild. Do they charge you for doing a touch up?
I haven't yet, but we'll see.
Oh, wow. Did you ever get the zits under the tattoo? I get that every time.
I was getting pretty irritated. Did you ever do the second skin where they put like the wrap on you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would really irritate my skin.
Me too.
And so that I would get, I don't know if I would call it zits, but it was more like a rash and sometimes a little bit of hives with it. But as soon as I took that off, my skin would start healing. Never from the tattoo itself.
Yeah, even like some of the tattoos on my thigh that I got 5 years ago now, I'll just get a zit in there, and it feels like one of those ones that was originally in there. Like when you first get the tattoo, you get a couple pimples, and you like can't pop them, right?
I haven't heard of
But
that. I haven't got one
they
yet.
feel the same. But yeah, you're not supposed to pop a pimple you get in a tattoo because then it shoots out all the ink, and then you just have a clear spot right there.
That's crazy. I would want to see that. I gotta go
Yeah.
YouTube.
I have a few now because I was getting pimples like I don't know, maybe a year, 2 years after the tattoo. And I'm like, oh, it's fine now. And so I would pop it. And then I'm like, oh man, that got rid of the ink in that spot, even a year later.
Wow.
Like nowadays, I'm like, dude, it needs so much touch up anyways that I just pop them, but I'll get one, I don't know, every 3, 4 months. And yeah, it takes the ink out
That's crazy. I
every
just want to
time.
see it pop and have like some ink pink. All right, cool. Well, we're probably gonna have a long one next time too because we didn't cover everything today. But it's been good seeing you. I'm glad we're back. Love you, Mom,
Love you, Miss T.
and we'll see you next time.